So today's topic is creating a balanced morning routine. And I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we could take this topic. And I do have some other videos that I would like to record on this topic. But today I thought we would just kind of start high level. And I'll be honest, we actually don't talk too much about yoga or yoga philosophy. One of the reasons that this topic is something that I have become passionate about is because mornings have become a special time for me to find time to practice my yoga. So this topic, this conversation, this discussion is not so much about practicing yoga in and of itself, but providing you the opportunity to create some space, some time, some peace, some structure in your mornings, just in case you are looking for that in your life, in your day to day. When I was really diving into this really deeply, I actually purchased like a you know $20 like mini course. So I got some great ideas from that. Um, so anyway, I'm happy to share those tips with you without the $20 course. Alrighty, so I do actually have a resource prepared that I will be able to share with you after our conversation today. I do actually have a PDF with a lot of the content that we're going to talk about today. So I will send that to you, or I'll give you the link where you can go get it right after we are done here. So let's dive in. I do have a couple of slides. I would love to hear what you think about having these. I find that they help me feel like I am being a little more organized and prepared. So let me know what you think. So we're going to talk about a couple different things. This is sort of our agenda for today. We're going to talk about what is your internal motivation, knowing your why. What can hold you accountable? Having a great plan, getting prepared the night before, and celebrating. And then I do have a handful of just helpful little tips at the end. Oh, beautiful. So, when we talk about starting a new routine or making a change in our behavior, it's really important to understand why we want to make this change. For me, I am not a natural morning person. It was really difficult for me to establish a new habit, a new behavior of waking up in the mornings. And so when I decided that this was something that I wanted to do, I really had to do some internal soul searching and discover why is it that I want to do this and what's going to drive me to motivate me and keep me going on this goal that I have. So, this is a goal just like any other goal. If you have a goal to lose weight or to get more strong or to get more organized or to learn a new skill for your career, any goal that you want to set, you need to have that internal motivation to be able to drive you and keep you moving forward closer to that goal. And one of my favorite speakers is Simon Sinek, and he has a really old video called "Start with Why." And I think it's sort of in reference to entrepreneurship and like why you want to have the business that you want to create. At least that was the context that it was introduced to me. And that concept has always really stuck with me. So knowing your why is it that you want to establish this new routine? It's easy to say like, oh, just get up earlier. Or, oh, I want to get up earlier to do X, Y, and Z, work out, prepare for blah, blah, blah. But if you don't have some intrinsic motivation, that goal will very slowly or very quickly fizzle out. And that you have some experience with this. I know I certainly do. But when it comes to my why and my motivation, I go back to my kids, my family. I have a dream for how I want our life to look, our day to day to look. And while I don't want to get too focused on the future where I'm not enjoying the present, I do like to use that future vision as my motivation. I like to envision a life where I don't have this 9 to 5 job and I'm able to be a full time entrepreneur, and I'm able to set my own schedule and be able to pick up my kids after school and not have to pay for after school care, and be able to afford all of the different sports programs that they might want to be interested in. But all of this costs money, and I don't love my job, so I want to work for myself. And so I'm really driven to spend my morning routine time working on my business, because that's the only time that I can find to move toward that goal. I don't have time throughout the rest of the day, and I realized that I couldn't take away from the evenings. I couldn't take away from the time that I'm working. So I had to create some time in the morning, and that's where my ambition for a morning routine came to be. And so this is my motivation. My motivation is my kids, and very likely your motivation is something to do with your family as well. And that's a really great motivation. I remember when my son turned 1, I really didn't like how I looked in the pictures that were being taken for his first birthday. So I had a really clear motivation to lose some weight after having him, to get into better shape. So I really liked the person I saw in the photos. And that was a really strong motivation for me to begin my workout routine. So if you haven't done this exercise before, or haven't done it in a while, I do really encourage you to sit and maybe meditate and think about, what is it exactly that you're trying to achieve, and why are you trying to achieve it? And keep asking yourself, but why? Why am I trying to start a morning routine? Why am I trying to earn more money? Why am I trying to get a promotion at work? Why am I trying to start my own business? Whatever it is that you're trying to do, really stop and ask yourself why, and allow yourself to sit with that and find the internal motivation, that internal drive that is going to keep you going. Because let me tell you, it's going to be challenging. No matter what the goal is, today we're talking about getting up early and having a great morning routine, but no matter what the goal is, you are going to run into speed bumps. And having that internal drive, that's what's going to get you over that hurdle, over that speed bump, and back on the path to achieving your goals. So I probably spent more time on this slide than I intended to, but I think that this is the precipice. Like, this is what is going to get us moving and reaching any of our goals. Alrighty, let's move on though. Okay, so another thing that's going to be really helpful to achieving this goal of establishing a solid, balanced morning routine is having some sort of accountability, whether that's an appointment that you set, or a meeting that you set, or I have a couple different examples. Well, first of all, if you've ever had an early flight in the morning, you know what it's like to have that, like, in your mind when you're going to bed. Oh my gosh, I have to get up tomorrow, or I'm going to miss my flight, and you get all this anxiety. I definitely don't want you to have anxiety before you go to bed, but I will tell you that flight is a perfect example of holding you accountable to getting up early. So what are some things that we can create or set up for ourselves to be held accountable? So one thing might be, creating some scheduled things on your calendar. They don't have to be things that you're doing with other people, but, having some things that you're actually scheduling on your calendar, things that you want to get done. That could be something that can hold you accountable. People can help hold you accountable. Maybe, you want to have like a accountability buddy, a little morning partner that maybe you have a friend or a partner that you're trying to go on this journey with to establish these new habits and these new routines. And maybe you just text them in the morning and say, hey, are you up? Or, hey, I made it up. Go me. And you just kind of have that awareness and that visibility that like, hey, I'm trying to do this and I did it. Or I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm telling my friend, I'm telling my coworker, oh man, I missed it today. I'm holding myself accountable because I didn't do it. Um, One of the things that I did for a while is, earlier this year I was attending a morning yoga class online via Zoom, so I attended at home. And that was one source of my accountability. And then I started teaching a yoga class every morning at 6 a.m., and that was my accountability. And so, those are great examples of just things like scheduling something, whether it's a class that you're attending, even if it's a free class, which mine was free at the time. I don't have that class right now, but I am looking to put some more classes on my calendar. So, if you are interested in early morning classes, please let me know. Or scheduling time at another class. Maybe are able to go to a gym or a yoga studio and take a class there. Find something that you can use to get you up and out of bed. Once you get in the routine, in the rhythm of getting up a little earlier, it will definitely help make it easier in the long run. But having that accountability in the beginning is going to be absolutely key. And if you need an accountability buddy, I am more than happy to be that for you. Whether you just want to have a text thing going on, or if we want to set up an accountability group inside of our Facebook group, you let me know and I would be delighted to help you achieve those goals. But in order to get anything done, you do need to have a plan. So sure, you can have your internal motivation. Sure, you can have an accountability buddy. But when it comes to actually having something to do, you do need to have a little bit of a plan. And so this is where you need to go back and ask yourself, okay, what is it that I'm trying to create and why, right? That's going to be your internal motivation. But what is it that I'm trying to create? Why am I feeling called to get up early? Why do I feel like I need this time to get something done? Maybe this is the only time that you can get ahead on your house. I know that having a clean house makes me feel very content. It brings me a lot of peace to have a clean house. And sometimes the morning is when I have a chance to clean up my house. I don't mean scrub, I mean tidy. Keep the house, my kitchen clean, the counters clean, things picked up and in place. Sometimes that's the time that we have to do it. Maybe you are working towards a health or fitness goal or a career goal. Figure out what it is that you are trying to achieve and write it down, and then break that goal into small, actionable, but reasonable tasks. So I do actually have some resources for this in the PDF that I'm going to share with you after this live learning session. But ultimately, yeah, it's as simple as that. Have a goal and figure out what are the bite-sized tasks that you can complete that get you 1 inch closer to that goal. Start the night before. This is honestly the game changer, at least in my world. I find that when I know that I want to get up early, I have to start the night before. I have my evening routine that I always do, wash my face, brush my teeth, all those things. That's done without question. But when I am really committed to getting up early in the morning, I have a new coffee pot. I actually got this coffee pot earlier this year when I was deciding that I wanted to start my morning routine, and I got it because it had a nice delay feature where I could time when it went off. I mean, it's a nice fancy little coffee pot, but I didn't have one of those coffee pots that had that feature before, and I made a point to go buy one just so I would have that, because I will tell you, coffee is something that helps me run coffee is my motivation and definitely gives me some energy throughout the day. So if you are addicted to coffee and caffeine like I am, then do yourself a favor and get it set up the night before, because that actually gives you something to look forward to in the morning. And then set up your clothes the night before. I mean, when I started doing this, it was like, it was a game changer, because it really made it easier for me in the morning to get up and have my morning routine of washing my face, brushing my teeth, putting on my clothes, maybe even putting on my makeup depending on the day. And having my clothes already picked out made it so much easier because I could be quiet. They were already there. I didn't have to think about it. You don't want any obstacles in the morning, any excuses to make you hit snooze too many times. So I felt like I was back in school again, picking up my clothes the night before. But yeah, it really helped and it's like a really great little routine of mine now. So I encourage you to try that. And whenever you start doing a new habit, every chance that you get that you were successful in completing that new routine, that goal, reward yourself. You have to celebrate the littlest wins. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go get a pedicure every time you wake up in the morning or, book yourself a massage or spend a bunch of money. I am talking about finding small little nuggets of joy that you can celebrate with throughout the week or at the end of the week whenever you have hit that goal of waking up early once, twice, 3 times, 5 days a week, whatever you have set for yourself as that goal. Allow yourself to reward yourself. And it's not so much about the reward itself, it's not so much about the thing that you give yourself at the end. It's about acknowledging that you did it and telling your brain that you're celebrating. When you celebrate something, even if it's like, a little chocolate bar that you're like, I earned this because I got up early all week. Whatever the reward is, when you reward yourself, you are conditioning your brain to do that thing that you rewarded yourself for again. Your brain does not care if it's a chocolate bar or $100 shopping spree on Amazon. It doesn't have to be anything specific, anything huge. If you tell yourself that you are celebrating something and you actually sit and enjoy that win, you are conditioning your brain to make it easier for you to keep up with these routines in the future. So maybe make a list of some of the little things that you can do to celebrate whenever you have achieved this milestone of waking up a certain amount of days early a week or whatever it is, whatever the goal. Make a list of little rewards and little ways that you can celebrate and share those celebrations. Tell your partner, tell your friend, tell your coworker, I earned this because I got up early every day this week or whatever it is. Don't hide that you're celebrating. Share it and maybe encourage somebody else to share their wins as well. Alrighty, so I did want to give you a few more just tips for a balanced morning routine to help you start your morning routine with success. So these are just some simple things that might seem really easy or might seem really challenging depending on how you feel about them. So the first one is to avoid social media. If you're going to take the effort to get up early in the morning, don't waste that time with being on your phone. Don't waste that time with checking your emails, checking your social media. You will notice that time that you had set for yourself, that time that you got up early, is completely wasted. And then it's like, well, I could have been sleeping rather than getting a head start on all this stuff I'm going to do later today anyway. So don't bother going on social media. And that might be a challenge for you depending on how quickly you like to pick up your phone in the mornings. But really try to discipline yourself to avoid social media, avoid your phone, avoid your emails even for that special time that you have set aside in the morning. Start with 30 minutes. You might one morning feel like I can get up super early and I can spend an hour doing all this stuff. That's great, but really try to start with small commitments and then you can always build up over time. Try to keep it a 30-minute window where you're like, okay, this is my 30 minute of focused time that I am going to use to work on this specific goal that we've already set. Give yourself grace. This is probably the most important tip in this entire training. You will have days that you sleep in. I will be honest with you, every day this week I have set my alarm for 5:30 and I have not gotten up. And I'm really disappointed because I do have some things that I'm really trying to work on. Last week I was a bit better at getting up early. This week has been a real struggle. My sleep just has been really hard. And so that doesn't mean I'm going to give up though. That doesn't mean I'm going to take this goal and this routine of getting up early and throw it out the window and I'm going to stop trying. No, we have to say, you know what? Some weeks are going to be harder than others. And this is with any goal ever. But if the goal is worth achieving, it is worth giving yourself grace and giving yourself some forgiveness whenever you do stumble or you fall off course for a little bit. That's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. Whenever you get the chance, pop back on the path and you will be on your way to achieving that goal and establishing those routines. Get great sleep. Duh, right? This seems like a no-brainer. Just sleep well. That makes getting up earlier a lot better. It's true though. Try to make sure that as you are preparing for your new morning routine, that you are starting your night routine early enough so that you do get good sleep and you do, get the full amount of sleep that you need. Just because you're trying to get up early does not mean that you need less sleep. You still need those 8 hours. And yes, you might have to go to bed a little bit earlier. And that might be hard at first, but if you go back to your why and you work with your partner or whoever you live with to help you establish those routines, it'll make it a lot easier. And watch what you eat and drink before bed. I am not going to be a hypocrite and tell you not to have a glass of wine at the end of the day. I definitely do. But we know the studies, we know the facts that if you eat a lot right before bed or if you drink too much alcohol right before bed, that really does affect your sleep. So maybe during the week when you are trying to establish this morning routine, you stop drinking an hour before bed, or you just limit it to one, or you just don't drink some nights. That's okay too. So, just be mindful of some of those other habits and how they're impacting your goals to achieve this morning routine so that you have the time to achieve those bigger goals. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. Like I mentioned, I do have a PDF resource with a lot of the tips that we talked about today, and a little bit more, some place for you to journal and to answer some of these questions that we talked about today. I am going to share with you the link to access that guide as soon as we're done here. I hope that you find that resource helpful. I hope that you found this discussion helpful. I would be glad to get any of your feedback. If you have any other tips or tricks that you would like to share with the group, please don't hesitate to add them in the comments. Or if you'd like to have more of a discussion about this later, please let me know. I don't see any questions or anything that came up in the chat while we were live. So if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to pop those in. Thank you so much for being here. I do love attending these live learnings with you, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye-bye.